2026 is going to be a massive year for Nintendo as a whole, with upcoming anniversaries, new games, and so many other great things. But one thing that you should probably take a look at is shortages and potential price increases for Nintendo Switch 2. Now right now, there is a massive fluctuation in AI and pretty much everything associated with that, which means that RAM, or memory as you call it, is short. So it's about 175% up than it was just 2 months ago, which is a big price increases. You can buy a stick of RAM for 32 gigabytes for roughly $800. It has definitely gone out of the water. But you might be asking, well, this is computer parts. How does this have to affect the Nintendo Switch 2 in any way, shape, or form? It just does, because the Nintendo Switch 2 does contain memory, and also there is an SD card shortage to go on top of the pile. So if you were ever planning on getting yourself a Switch 2, you should definitely do it right now. Now, even if there's not too many games that interest you, but maybe there's a game in 2026 that really interests you, you should probably jump into it, because right now we have no idea how the future of Switch 2 Nintendo as a whole is going to take shape. It could be completely fine in 2026. There's going to be no shortages, no nothing. But at the same time, you could look at it and there could be a shortage, or there could be a massive price increases. Instead of roughly $500 US, it could be $700 US. Instead of about $800 Canadian, it could be maybe $1,000 to $2,000. Probably not, but hey, it could happen because the shortage is pretty bad. You can't really get yourself a standard pack of RAM for a good decent price anymore. It was just like $200 cheap about a month or two ago, which is a crazy thing. How did it go up so much? Now, I wouldn't necessarily worry about it right now. Alright, the Switch 2 is going to get more expensive by the end of 2026. It's probably going to slowly have an increase unless Nintendo can keep the production going. We shouldn't see any price increases whatsoever. Because how price increases actually happen is if the manufacturer doesn't have enough systems to go with the demand, so therefore price increases. If you take a look at Xbox, they're on their second price increase, which that console is now $700 US, which is a crazy thing to look at. Why is that so expensive? But one other thing that you might want to take note of is the Switch 2 also might have another shortage in another department, which might make it even more expensive. So GPUs. Now GPUs are set to have a shortage as well in either right now or early 2026. Prices have already started to skyrocket upwards, which is a bad thing to see. So the Nintendo Switch 2 might have that problem as well. Now, I wouldn't be too concerned about the GPU in the Switch 2, but it's still something that you want to consider. Now, in case there's things that you want to get about the Nintendo Switch 2 or you're not sure, there's definitely a bunch of different games that you might like. If you're into Mario, well then there's a brand new Mario Kart for you. Mario Kart World is honestly a really fun game. It really takes everything from Mario Kart and throws it into this one with a unique spin on it. So you can go anywhere you want, and my goodness, the mechanics in this game are so good. They really are great. Donkey Kong Bonanza, you could break anything you want, which is a pretty fun game. You also had Kirby Air Riders, which is another exclusive game that is honestly one of the greatest games that I've ever played. I'm not really the most fond of kart racing games, but this is just like a racer mixed with a battle RPG mixed with like a whole bunch of different things, which is like so much fun. You also have the Switch 2 editions that you want to consider. Maybe you want to play The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom at 4K 60, which honestly, those games look beautiful at that resolution. You really see all the detail, the advanced detail that you weren't able to see on the Nintendo Switch 1, and even Kirby or something like that looks amazing. The colors pop, the visuals are really great, and everything associated to that. But maybe you didn't want that. Maybe you wanted to know a bit more on the story in Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. Well, Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment is another exclusive that you might want to look out for. But all of those things aside, 2026 is going to be a massive year for the Switch 2, and you should probably get one right now if you want to play some of these games without price increases, a bunch of crap that's going on. Remember, before the Switch 2 launched, there was a lot of concern about the price is going to go up. Oh my goodness, $500 is so much for a console. Now we can see $550, $700, whatever it is. You don't really want that to happen, do you? Unless there's no games at all. Well then, if there's no games at all, don't get a Switch 2. But you gotta remember, 2026, if you're into The Legend of Zelda, well, the 40th anniversary of The Legend of Zelda, and there's set to be rumors that are saying that we're going to be getting another 2D Legend of Zelda game, which is really, really cool. There's a video up there if you want to go and check that out. But overall, The Legend of Zelda, really, really cool. There also could be a remaster or remake for The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, which really looks like this is going to happen. And the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time remake, so from the ground up remake, there's been a lot of talks about that. But what if you're not into The Legend of Zelda? Well, Pokemon. There's going to be Pokemon Generation 10 and also maybe a remaster of one of the original Pokemon games, maybe Generation 5. But those things aside, there's still other games that were announced for 2026. Like a brand new Mario Tennis game. Maybe you're a fan of Mario Tennis, well then the Switch 2 is right for you. This will be releasing in January, I believe, which is pretty cool. But overall, it's completely up to you if you want to jump onto the hype chain of Nintendo Switch 2, because of course, I'm not going to sit here and say, buy a Switch 2, even though that you don't want a Switch 2. But there's just things that you should look out to consider. Am I going to buy a Switch 2 before things start to get bad? Price increases, you don't want to see that. Right now, you can get a Switch 2 for a pretty decent price. For the power that this system has, it's honestly pretty good. And I wouldn't say, hey, the system's worth it, $600, hey, an extra $100 than the original price was right now. You can even get some bundles, so check out your local stores. Maybe there's going to be sales, and maybe there's just, you want the Pokemon Legends ZA bundle or the Mario Kart World bundle, you should be able to still get those, because again, Nintendo has a lot of production on these things. But of course, don't count me accountable. I just wanted to tell you, hey, maybe the Switch 2 might go up in price due to shortages and all of those things, but it might not as well. So hey, at the end of the day, it's completely up to you what you're going to do with your money, because hey, I'm not going to sit here and say, buy this right now, because you have to. So at the end of the day, it's completely up to you if you're going to play any of these games, or maybe you just want to have fun with it. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that please consider to hit the like button. I would really, really appreciate it. Maybe hit the subscribe button as well if you like a whole bunch of different Nintendo content. The Legend of Zelda, Mario, Pokemon, pretty much everything Nintendo. Here's the right place for you. Anyways, with that being said, have a fantastic day and see you in the next one.